The arena breathed like a living thing as the lights fell, a slow, deliberate darkness rolling across the sea of faces. Conversations died mid-sentence. Phones froze in midair. Even the most hardened fans felt it, that electric pressure that comes only when something important is about to happen. This wasn't just another show. This was one of those nights people would talk about years later, beginning every sentence the same way. I was there when. A low rumble echoed through the speakers, not music yet, just sound, deep, vibrating, almost like a heartbeat. The massive screen above the stage flickered, teasing static, then went black again. Somewhere in the crowd, someone screamed a name. Somewhere else, someone whispered, "No way." Anticipation spread row by row, thick enough to taste. Then a single note cut through the darkness. It wasn't loud at first. It didn't need to be. The sound was enough. Recognition hit before reason could catch up. The music swelled, and the arena exploded. People jumped from their seats as if pulled by strings. Grown men clutched their heads. Cheers appeared without warning. A theme song buried in memory roared back to life, and with it came years of stories, championships won, betrayals suffered, injuries that were supposed to end everything. The curtain parted slowly, almost respectfully, and a silhouette appeared. He stepped out into the light. Time had changed him. The shoulders were heavier, the beard threaded with gray, the body marked by scars earned the hard way. But the eyes, those hadn't changed at all. They still carried the same fire, the same refusal to fade quietly. He stood at the top of the ramp, soaking it in, chest rising and falling as the noise crashed over him like a wave. He wasn't smiling at first. He was fighting something. Then he exhaled, and the smile came, small, genuine, grateful. The walk down the ramp wasn't rushed. Each step felt intentional, almost ceremonial. He slapped a few outstretched hands, nodded to fans holding signs older than some of the people in the building. Cameras caught his lips moving silently, maybe saying thank you, maybe reminding himself that this was real. When he reached the ring, he stopped. He looked at it, just looked. The mat, the ropes, the corners, everything that had taken so much from him, and given him even more. He climbed the steps, stepped through the ropes, and stood in the center of the ring as his music faded. The crowd didn't. They refused to let the moment end. He raised a hand, asking for quiet, but even that took time. When he finally lifted the microphone, the arena held its breath. "I told myself," he began, voice rough with emotion, "that if I ever came back, it would mean something." The cheers returned, louder than before. "I didn't come back for nostalgia," he continued. "I didn't come back to relive the past. I came back because this ring still calls my name." He pressed his boot into the canvas, grounding himself. "And because I'm not done." Before he could say another word, the lights snapped out. The cheers turned to confusion. A new sound crept in, cold, rhythmic, unfamiliar. The screen flashed with sharp lines and digital distortion before settling on a single name. No introduction, no explanation, just a name, clean and bold. The crowd murmured, unsure how to react. The curtain opened again. The debuting wrestler stepped out without hesitation. No dramatic pose, no pause to absorb the reaction. He walked forward with calm certainty, eyes fixed straight ahead. Young, focused, dangerous in a quiet way. He wore no smile, no arrogance, just confidence so solid it didn't need to be announced. The veteran in the ring leaned against the ropes, studying him closely. This wasn't a kid chasing a moment. This was someone who expected one. The newcomer stopped at the bottom of the ramp and looked up. Their eyes met, and something shifted in the air. It wasn't hostility, not yet. It was recognition. The kind that happens when two people understand, instantly, that they are standing at opposite ends of the same path. The crowd felt it too. The noise dipped into a tense hush. The newcomer climbed the steps, slow and deliberate, and entered the ring. He took a microphone but didn't speak right away. Instead, he turned in a slow circle, letting the audience see him clearly, letting the moment stretch. Finally, he faced the veteran. "I grew up watching you," he said, voice steady. "I learned what this place takes from you, and what it gives back." The crowd murmured. "But this year," he continued, "isn't about who was here. It's about who belongs here now." The reaction split, boos clashing with cheers. The veteran smiled faintly, careful, he said. "This place has a way of humbling people who talk too soon." The newcomer nodded. "Good," he replied. "I didn't come here to be comfortable." Before the tension could break, another theme hit. This one sent shockwaves through the building. A roar erupted as a second returning figure appeared on the stage. A former champion, long absent, his presence still heavy with dominance. He walked out with purpose, eyes locked on the ring, taking in the scene like a general surveying a battlefield. He didn't rush. He didn't need to. The ring was already full of history, and now it was gaining more. As he reached the ramp, the screen lit up again. Another name. Another arrival. The night began to feel unreal. Wrestlers filled the stage. Some returning from injury, some debuting for the first time, others stepping back into the spotlight after years away. Each carried their own story, their own reason for being here. The ring became the center of it all, a crossroads where past, present, and future collided. The veteran stood tall despite the odds. The newcomer didn't step back. The returning champion cracked his neck, ready. No one attacked. They didn't need to. This wasn't about violence yet. This was about declaration. 2025 had arrived, not quietly, but all at once. Through debuts that refused to wait their turn. Through returns that proved unfinished business never truly dies. Through a ring that remembered everyone who had ever given their heart to it. As the camera pulled back and the crowd roared, one truth became undeniable. This wasn't just the start of a year. It was the beginning of a war for relevance, legacy, and the right to be remembered. The tension didn't break when the cameras cut to black that night. It followed everyone backstage, hung in the hallways, crept into locker rooms like a challenge whispered too close to the ear. The roster had felt it before. Those rare moments when WWE shifted on its axis, but this was different. This felt planned by fate rather than production. By the next show, the arena was already buzzing before the opening pyro. Fans didn't ask if someone would appear. They asked who and from where. The playlist of 2025 had officially begun to play on shuffle. The first match of the night barely ended before the lights dimmed again. A video package rolled, showing flashes of the previous week, the veteran's return, the cold-eyed debut, the silent standoff. Then the screen cut live. The veteran walked out alone this time. No music, just boots on steel and the roar of recognition. He stood in the ring, microphone in hand, posture relaxed but eyes alert. This wasn't a celebration anymore. This was business. "I've been thinking," he said slowly, letting the crowd settle. About what was said, about what this year is supposed to be. Pause. "You're right about one thing," he continued. "This ring isn't about who was here. It's about who can survive here." The crowd reacted instantly. "And if 2025 is about arrivals," he added, "then it's also about tests." That's when the familiar, cold beat hit. The newcomer appeared on the stage without hesitation, exactly as before, focused, composed, unmoved by the noise. He walked straight to the ring, slid under the bottom rope, and stood face to face with the veteran again. No words at first, just breathing. "You want a test," the newcomer said finally. "Name the time." Before the veteran could answer, the arena shook with another theme, this one darker, heavier. The returning champion stormed out, eyes blazing, microphone already in hand. "You don't get to skip the line," he snapped, staring holes through both men. "Not in my division. Not in my year." The ring suddenly felt too small. General managers, officials, security, all spilled out, trying to contain something that refused to be contained. Voices overlapped, fingers pointed. The crowd fed on every second of it. Then the decision dropped like a hammer. At the next premium live event, it would happen. A three-way collision. Veteran, debut, champion. Not for nostalgia, not for respect, for control. The weeks leading up to it were chaos disguised as programming. The newcomer tore through established names with ruthless efficiency. No wasted motion, no celebration. He pinned former champions and walked away like it was expected. Every victory ended the same way, him standing in the ring, eyes locked on the hard camera, sending a message without speaking. The returning champion reminded everyone why he had once ruled. He outsmarted younger opponents, outlasted faster ones, and laughed when questioned about age. "Experience doesn't slow you down," he said. "It sharpens you." And the veteran, he chose silence. No interviews, no matches, just training footage leaked on social media. Early mornings, late nights, sweat-soaked mats. His body looked different. Not faster, not bigger, but ready. Like someone who had accepted exactly who he was and decided that would be enough. When the night finally arrived, the atmosphere was suffocating. The crowd knew this wasn't a standard main event. This was a referendum on the future. Entrances felt longer, louder. The champion came out first, confidence carved into every step. The newcomer followed, eyes forward, expression unchanged. And then the veteran. Music finally hitting, crowd exploding, a man walking toward a moment he understood better than anyone else. The bell rang. The match wasn't pretty. It wasn't flashy. It was brutal. The champion controlled early, isolating the newcomer, grounding him with precision. The rookie fought back with desperation and speed, forcing the champion to adapt. When the veteran entered, the pace changed entirely, experience meeting instinct, timing meeting hunger. Near falls stacked up. The crowd lived and died with every count. At one point, all three men were down, chests heaving, sweat and exhaustion blurring the lines between them. This wasn't about winning anymore. This was about proving who belonged at the center of the storm. The finish came fast. A mistake. A split second. The newcomer capitalized, hitting his finisher on the champion, but before he could cover, the veteran dragged him off, eyes blazing with something between regret and resolve. One final move. One final pin. 3. The arena erupted. The veteran stood victorious, not triumphant, not celebrating wildly, just standing, breathing, absorbing the truth of what he'd done. The champion rolled out of the ring, furious but respectful. The newcomer sat on the mat, stunned, staring at the canvas like it had betrayed him. As the veteran left the ring, he stopped. He turned back. He offered his hand. The crowd held its breath. The newcomer looked at it for a long moment, then took it. Not friendship, acknowledgement. From that night on, everything shifted. The newcomer didn't slow down. He adjusted. He learned. Loss sharpened him instead of breaking him. Within months, he held gold of his own. The champion reclaimed his throne, then lost it again, proving that dominance wasn't about permanence, it was about presence. And the veteran, he didn't wrestle every week. He didn't need to. He had done what he came to do. He reminded the world that returns weren't about reliving the past. They were about shaping what came next. By the end of 2025, fans looked back at the year not as a list of surprises, but as a story, one where debuts didn't ask permission, returns didn't apologize, and the ring welcomed anyone brave enough to stand in it and say, "I'm here now." The playlist kept playing, and every track mattered.